What is up, Shredders? Welcome to Q&A number 6. I'm going to try to make these Q&As weekly, and this week is going to be week number 1. So let's get on with it. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to be doing like a Q&A / hangout type thing where first I answer all of your questions, and then afterwards I just talk about topics that are on hand with this channel and just kind of chill out, enjoy, relax, have a good time. We could just talk about stuff. Okay, the first question comes from Homer Simpson. I love IRs and I don't like feeling limited with traditional cabinets with one speaker. That being said, I've tried PAs, Headrush, 8-inch studio monitors, Kali Audio, FR, Line 6 Power Cab, Friedman ASM12, but they all fail to really excite the room and push the air. What are my options? I was thinking of trying a 4x12 cab with Celestion F12 X200s or perhaps a f.1 surround sound setup. I'll be honest, when it comes to modeling and having a live sound with modeling, I have never found the solution to getting modelers to push the air for me. There's a lot of people out there like Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones who can get a good sound out of it and he enjoys that sound, but every time I've ever used a modeler live, it's just sounded very flat to me. I wish I could provide you an answer for this question, but honestly, for me personally, it's always been analog distortion, either an amp distortion or a pedal distortion with digital effects afterwards if I am going to use a modeler. But I wish I could provide you an answer, but it's so hard to give you an answer when I haven't found the answer myself. I've been trying forever to get a modeler to sound good loud. I remember when I was in a band, I tried to get a modeler sounding good live for a while, but it just didn't pan out for me. So now I mainly just use modeling for practice and for low volumes as well as for recording, and I use big old amps, big old analog amps, tube pedals or tube amps or even solid state amps, anything like that for big band playing, because they really push the air and excite the room a lot better than modelers from my experience. Okay, this one comes from Andrew Seed 97. Hopefully I said your name right. I appreciate your comments. I see you a lot in my videos. Have you tried the Kirk Hammet Dunlop picks? I have not yet, and I want to. I actually want to try out his wah pedal a lot, since basically Kirk Hammett's wah pedal has become a meme over the years, more or less. And I've always been a huge Kirk Hammett fan. I think he's a great guitarist. He makes some of the most memorable solos there are. You can easily remember most of his solos. That's his trademark, more or less. Like, oh yeah, that's the master of puppets. That's the master of puppets. So I love it. But no, I haven't. His picks are the Jazz 3, but they're kind of heart-shaped and glittery, which is kind of strange for a guy who's in such an iconic metal band, but I'd like to try them out and see what they're all about. I'm a huge Jazz 3 type of guy. I use the Jazz 3 XLs the most, but these look more like the standard Jazz 3s, except they're a bit more heart-shaped. But I might buy them in the future and try them out. I definitely want to get his wah pedal. It looks cool, and you know, it's Kirk Hammett. You know, he's got the wah sound down. Okay, this comes from Alexander de los Reyes. Alexander de los Reyes. Hopefully I said your name right as well. This is on the Marshall MG video. Which would you recommend more, Blackstar Fly 3 or this amp? I think the MG is a better stay-at-home practice amp than the Blackstar Fly 3. I think the Fly 3 is good, but it's better as a travel amp. The one thing I do not like about the Blackstar Fly 3 is that the gain just doesn't go to 10, in my opinion. It at max gets you to like a 7 on a typical amp gain-wise, which is good, and it's more of a recording type of distortion where you want to back off a little bit. But I like amps that go to 10, especially when it comes to live. When you're not double tracking a guitar and you're just playing live, I think it's fine to just dime the crap out of your amp if you need to. But I like the options of having as much gain as possible. But you can't really go wrong. But if you're going to travel, Blackstar Fly 3, but if you're going to stay home, Marshall MG. Okay, this comes from Crowdkill Productions for the Whammy pedal, the original Whammy pedal video. And he said, is this pedal able to control MIDI? And it has a MIDI controller. I mean, it has a MIDI output on the back of it. No, it's, let me look at it. I think it was a MIDI input. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's a MIDI in on the Whammy. There's no MIDI output or anything. I don't think it can control MIDI, but I've never tried. All of the videos I've seen online have been people putting MIDI controllers into the Whammy to control the Whammy pedal to make their selections a lot easier. You may want to look more into it. I don't think it can control MIDI, but I could be wrong. I've never tried it in my life. But if you want a MIDI controller to control the Whammy, then you're pretty much set. I think it will work. Okay, this one comes from Mang Time with my Dimebag distortion video. He says, your Swedish voltage problem is likely due to that pedal requiring an 18 volt PSU. Your pedal board's power is probably 9 volt, and what you're hearing is the pedal browning out. Probably give it a shot with the proper voltage. I will say that it probably does sound slightly off, being a slightly different voltage, but I got this pedal from Ola England directly from his Discord, and he was using the right voltage in Sweden, and it sounds very similar to what I'm playing through here in America. So I think it's a very micro tonality thing we're talking about here with the voltage. And I think if Ola England can't get it to sound good in Sweden with the correct voltage, I don't think there's any real hope for this guitar pedal. There's a lot of people out there who are so into this guitar pedal. They're so invested so heavily that they can't fathom it being not as good as they want it to be. I'm just being honest here. Like, that's what I do with my reviews. I just play it and I give you my honest opinion about them. And honestly, the Dimebag Duro pedal, it's just not as good as most other pedals. It has his name on it, but you can get it easy. You can easily get a better Dimebag Duro sound out of the Metal Zone or the Behringer Ultra Metal pedal. But the Dimebag distortion pedal, that thing is so, it's just very, very dated. I'm sorry to not validate your opinion that it's good or not. Like, it's all right, but it's such a micro thing with the power that I think it would be MXR's problem that it doesn't sound right with a different voltage out there in Europe than it does in America. Like, the way to get the correct voltage, to get the correct sound, is to use American voltage, and then you can get the correct Dimebag Duro sound. I think that's just a bit too far-fetched. If Ola England can't make it sound good, then I really don't think anybody can make it sound good, to be honest. But thank you for your insight. I appreciate it regardless. I don't want it to be too negative sounding, but honestly, I think it's just such a micro thing that it's not worth really arguing about. Okay, this is from the Marshall MG video. This is from Ellie, or Eli. We'll just say Ellie. Do you recommend this for beginners? Yes, the Marshall MG is great amp for beginners because it's just so bare bones and it's just very good practice amp. You just turn it on and it has very limited options to it, so you don't get super overwhelmed, and you got distortion, you got clean, and you're pretty much set. You just start playing with a metronome from there. Okay, that is all of the questions for the week. And we are at 11 minutes. I can't believe how crazy that is for 11 minutes. Okay. And let's talk about the topics at hand. We'll see how long this takes me to upload as well. The big thing about being a weekly thing is I have to see how fast each video uploads. Okay, because I don't really want it to start butting into when the reviews are going up and has to upload as well. Okay, number 2 thing I want to talk about is I'm rebuilding my technique. I've been working on my right hand for like 2 years now, maybe about 2 years now. I think my right hand has gotten pretty decent when it comes to alternate picking. But one thing I realized is that my left hand is lacking. And so now I'm practicing a lot of what Rick Graham talks about in some of his left hand lessons, as well as Bernth, I think that's his name, where he talks about left hand as well. And they all hold their guitar like this, classical style. And that's because when you hold it like this, your hand is at a much more comfortable place, and that you can easily adopt a lot of these good habits into your playing while you do it. And to be honest, it's a very, very difficult thing for me to practice because a lot of it comes down to holding your thumb on the center of the neck here when it comes to a lot of things being under the 12th fret. And I'm very naturally this type of guy. I like to put the thumb over the top, but honestly, I don't think it's the most economic for me. So I've been putting it down here on the back of the neck right here and just trying to really get a lot of my sequences and licks down in this style. It's going to take me a very long time, but I'm going to do it because it's worth it. And another thing is Bernth talks about is when you go to play like this with only your left hand, that you should play only when your fingers are needed. So if I needed this finger for I only move it when it is needed, and this helps you stick to the fretboard as well as forces you to use a specific angle so that all of the notes sound out as you're going through your scale sequences and licks. And that is very hard for me, especially when it comes to moving up on the metronome. I am not the most patient person in the world, and I've always practiced in this way where I just move up 5 beats per minute to 10 beats per minute. And I think that has been kind of detrimental a bit to my technique. I think I'm making progress with my technique even with that kind of strange way to move up BPMs. But I think what I'm going to start doing is moving it up one notch at a time. And this is going to take a very long time for me. But the thing is, I need to not lose the techniques that I just talked about while I move up faster and faster, which is very, very, very difficult for me to do. I've noticed that I can get it down very well when I'm playing very slow. But when you move it up too fast, it's very easy to just abandon all of those good habits and then just play what will work the absolute best for speed, which may not be the most economic for your technique. And so I'm going to be trying that and trying to rebuild a lot of my left hand technique. And I want to eventually have my left hand be the dominant hand of my playing, and then my right hand will become the more apprentice to the left hand. Trying to get more of a Rick Graham kind of Guthrie Govan style of playing more than what I'm doing now, which is more Zach Wildish. I want something to be, I generally want my guitar technique now to become something more graceful and fluid and very little tension. I want to just be able to play guitar, and when you see me play guitar, I want it to be very, in a way where it doesn't look like I'm trying at all. It just flows out of me like butter. That's what I'm going for with my technique building. Okay, let's talk about the next one, building set 2. Set 2 is over on this far side here, and I thought it would be cool to build a set because honestly it's just fun to build sets. I don't know what it is about me, but I just love building things one thing at a time. It's just huge. It's just a lot of fun to do. Right now it's just, let me see if I could turn the camera around. Hopefully it doesn't screw up. Yeah, this right here is set 2. Right now I have Guthrie Govan on the wall. I don't know if you could see him. Let me turn this around. Yeah, you can see him. Yeah, I got Guthrie Govan on the wall. I got a freaking stool and the Marshall DSL half stack. The door over here is going to get stained dark brown, and I'm basically going to get a bunch of cool posters on the wall. Like it's going to be very similar to my early 20s, teenage years of when I used to play the crap out of guitar, just woodshed hardcore. And I just want to put all of my past heroes and modern heroes, all of those guys on the wall, and it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a different type of set, and it's going to really make the channel a bit more diverse when it comes to what you're seeing behind me. Okay, number 4, the M160 mic right here. I just got this baby, and this was the most expensive microphone I've ever bought in my life. It was about $600. Yes, it was that much. But I thought it would be a great mic for demoing because it's just much more even than the SM57. Even though the 57 is the standard, it works better as a mix mic because it pushes your guitar sound beyond. It pushes your guitar sound beyond the other parts of the band and pushes you in the mix a lot better. But this is a much more flatter sounding, much more even sounding, and more natural. So when you hear something I play, it's going to sound more like it is in the room than it is being filtered through this mid boost that the SM57, 58s have. And I think that will be a huge positive for the channel. And lastly, I want to talk about 400 subs. I am so grateful for it. I have a video coming where I'm just going to have it be very chill, and I'm just going to show you every aspect of this room so far. This room right now is pretty dirty. I'm not going to lie. It's constantly changing, and I'm constantly doing things to it while I get more and more involved and more videos are being made, and I need more space for different things, and it's just constantly changing. But I figured I would do like a real chill video about 400 subs based on just showing you this room, and maybe later on, maybe a year from now, I can do another update of even if I'm still here. I don't know if I'll still be here in a year. You never know. You never know. That's the way life moves. And I'll just, keep doing updates, and we'll be rolling. Keep making videos. It's how it rolls. And I think that's everything for this week. Next week there will be another Q&A, and I'm going to keep trying to do this weekly. It's very, I'm going to try to make it so it's as easy to make these videos as possible. I want to make faster videos for you guys. The reviews are a bit more intensive editing wise, but I want to make these types of videos a lot more chill and faster. I think that's more Dave Simpson style, where he just kind of hits the record button, just starts talking about music and guitar and all of that stuff. And I think that's just as interesting to me as a lot of the reviews. I think it becomes more of a human to human connection than it is a production, a show. And I think that's a side of this channel I want to start building between me and you, the audience, and making something that's more community aspectio, whatever that word is, more of a community type of thing. And so I think that's pretty enjoyable. So we are at 22 minutes now, and I should probably end this. So thank you so much for your questions. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have anything you just want me to talk about, just leave me them in the comments, and I'll get back to you next week.